Congratulations.
Thanks for coming.
Hi, Frank. Hi, everybody. So it's 10 years. My first question is, how do you feel about it?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's really like, I can't believe that it's already 10 years.
Yeah. Would you tell me something, how it all started 10 years ago?
Yeah, I mean, it's really, the idea was to have like a more sovereign, independent, open source alternative to the big tech companies. And it all started as a software hacker open source project at the beginning, and now it turned into a real company and project a lot of big organizations use. It's surreal to me, because it was just started as more as same as the CCC, more like from a hacker perspective. And now it's like becoming a big thing.
So how many people were you?
You mean when we started?
Yeah.
It were 12 founders at the beginning. Yeah.
That's not very much. But now, kind of like the digital life changed.
Yes.
And the idea of Nextcloud is really getting a grip, right?
Yes. At the beginning, it was really like, there was the opinion that everything goes to the cloud. The cloud is the future, everything goes to the cloud. And the cloud is somewhere, I don't know, we don't know, we don't care. It's just magic. It comes out of the wall like electricity or water, doesn't matter. And now people understand that it actually matters. And you need to understand where the data is, who controls it, who has access to it. So it's really the idea behind it is, getting broader now.
We have a new debate, like, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 years about sovereignty.
Yeah.
And it's really a debate which is high up in the politics. It's even Friedrich Merz and Macron talking about it. How did this debate conquer Nextcloud too? Is it like really having an effect?
Well, it has an effect that I'm often invited to talk with politicians and give interviews. It's not completely clear if the politics actually do something. We're still waiting for some concrete action, but the topic is definitely getting like more mainstream. And for me, this is strange because I started IT in the 90s and no one cared about IT. It's just a nurse in the basement, right, doing some things. And now, as you said, like the Chancellor, Germany, like the European Commission, Trump, China, everybody's talking about tech dependency, and also it's used as a weapon nowadays. And this is new, I think.
What is your definition actually?
Of digital sovereignty?
Yeah.
I don't know, it's interesting because for me this is really closely connected to open source, because I grew up with open source in the 90s, and you have your computer in front of you, you have your software, you can study the source code, you can play around, you can do what you want, and you basically are sovereign in that way, right? It's like your computer, your data, your hardware, and that's your thing. And then later everything moved to the cloud, and then we lost control in a way. We just became no longer hackers and developers, we were just consumers. Or users, right? You're a customer of AWS, but you don't know what's happening there. It's a black box. And for me, it's like everything taking sovereignty back in a way. That we know where the data is, we know what the software is doing, and we can change it, we can study it, and so on. So for me, this is digital sovereignty.
Yeah. And so, do you have the feeling that most company leaders have that thoughts too? That they understand that it's vital for their commercial interests?
Yeah, I think they're slowly getting it more and more. There are some events like, for example, the International Criminal Court, where suddenly accounts are switched off and you cannot do nothing. And there are other examples like that. Also cases of espionage that are happening. And I think the organizations, they're really getting it, that it's not water that you can just ignore, it's just there, it's a commodity. But IT is actually important, you need to care.
Would you have thought 10 years ago where you would land now with Nextcloud?
Definitely not, no. I mean, it started and I just wrote some open source software and I thought, well, maybe some people will use it. I use it myself and it will grow a bit. But now I'm no longer writing software. I'm just doing interviews and traveling around, and it's definitely not what I thought.
Okay. So how many people work now at Nextcloud?
Like now?
Yeah.
165 people now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the community is even larger, right?
Yeah, exactly. 165 people are employees. They are full-time paid people. The community is huge. It's over 2,000 people contributing to the core alone, but there are also translations and apps and all kinds of things.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's one of the biggest projects.
And it's really my impression, a loving community. They love Nextcloud and they love to develop it with you, right?
Everybody cares about the mission. And
that's an asset.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Today is the new hub release, right? What does that mean? What is the big day?
Yes, that's our next big release. We're doing lots of releases all the time, 3 a year, and this is a specific milestone also because it comes together with our birthday, and it's really big release. So yeah, there are tons of improvements from design improvements, performance improvements, also new features, and it's a big step. So everybody's excited.
You think the debate about sovereignty will continue when Donald Trump is out of office, which will hopefully happen sometime in the future? You think it will change again? Or is that something which will never go away because we are so dependent on tech?
I think it will stay because it's clear to everybody that it is a strategic question. It's no longer just who cares what paper I'm using. It is strategic. Yeah. And all the problems around espionage and like privacy problems, and this will stay. I mean, I think it will even get bigger. Mm-hmm. So Donald Trump is a catalyst in a way.
Yeah, but in a way it is a catalyst for the debate. Yeah, that's what I think.
But it's not the reason.
No, it's not. So what would you actually, if you have, let's say, we have a little company, maybe not in the tech branch, but somewhere else. What would you suggest somebody who would have to like a tech infrastructure, which is independent or more independent? What would you suggest to do? Like, what steps should somebody take?
Yeah, I mean, if you're introducing something new, if you introduce like a chat system, video calling system, Office solution, whatever, then I think you should bet on an open source product like Nextcloud. Yeah. If you're already using Microsoft and Google, then it of course gets a bit more complicated because migration is hard. But then you should also consider it. You should at least test it, I would say. Yeah.
And are you a proponent of having tech personnel and stuff at your company on premise?
There are pros and cons. At the end, Nextcloud gives you the choice to decide how it works. So you can run it on premise. You can have your server and your system administrator and do everything yourself. But you can also get Nextcloud from a service provider if you don't want to care about IT. That's also fine. Mm-hmm. Of course, then you need to trust the service provider. But I think if you have 1,000 service providers offering Nextcloud, it's better than just one Microsoft.
Yeah. You don't just provide the software products to companies. You have a large crowd of private people using Nextcloud, right?
Yeah.
Actually, what would you hope for them for the next years to come?
This is where we're coming from, the home user, the hacker community. Mm-hmm. This is how everything started. And that we're focusing on the big companies, this is basically also part of our business model as a company. But at the end of the day, I care about all the individuals, right? This is what's important, protecting their privacy and freedom. And I hope that this is spreading. And I'm also excited about the Nextcloud ecosystem. We have so many crazy apps and plugins, also lots for home users. There's like a cookbook app, for example, where you manage your recipes, or you can manage your travel plans, and this is like, I find this very cool. This is like gives power to the home users.
Where is actually the Nextcloud community the largest one, internationally speaking?
I think it is Germany, for historical reasons.
Where is fastest growing actually?
Fast growing is Netherlands, I think. Also, like places like Denmark, for example, because there's this whole Greenland thing, right, with Donald Trump, and they understand that it's like important, like now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So when it all started, when Trump had his second presidency, could you really feel it in the development of the Nextcloud community?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Actually, there were like over the years, there were always this like special events where we got the idea got a boost. I mean, it started with Snowden, of course. This was like, okay, wow, this is like important. And then there were like, I don't know, the Trump 1 and Trump 2, and then you always have this like events where you get a boost.
Like stairs. You mentioned Snowden, actually. The Snowden revelations were before you started Nextcloud, right?
Yeah, this was in the previous project.
But you could feel the aftermath.
Yeah, this was in the previous project.
Really? It was kind of a reason for the company?
No, I mean, that was before Nextcloud was OwnCloud.
Yeah, OwnCloud, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember. Actually, we talked about it before. I was a user 9 years ago.
Yeah.
So I'm a long-time user, part of the community, actually.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm curious to see what you've been working on right now.
Right now, I mean, the big thing at the moment is this Euro Office idea. That we are doing a complete new Office suite. I'm not alone, together with lots of other companies, but as an open source consortium in a way, because I think that the whole Office situation needs some reinvention. So this is something we're working on at the moment. Actually, with this release, this is the first production version of the Euro Office thing. This is only in the browser at the moment, but very soon we will also have it on the desktop as desktop applications, on Mac Windows Linux, and also on mobile. So this is a big project. And then it's hard to say, there are just like so many sub-communities and sub-projects happening.
No secret projects, what you could maybe reveal now?
Secret projects? Not
for
really.
Next year or something?
Not really, no.
Okay,
no. Everything is transparent.
Okay, yeah, that's right. And the community knows first, because they really work with you.
Exactly, yeah.
So thank you, Frank, for answering all my questions. I think it's a very likable company in the end, because
Thanks a lot.
The idea behind it is, at least for me as a hacker, relatable.
It is. It's important. I'm sometimes surprised that there are not more projects and companies like us, because for me it's like obvious. This is needed, and this is how it should work.
Yeah, I just hope that in the political realm, they will understand that they need to support the whole branch of open source companies. But I don't know if it will happen. We will see.
True. Yeah. And now I want to hand over to the team that shows you all the cool news about our new release.
Hey there! I have a few great updates to share with you today about Nextcloud Talk. Nextcloud Talk has become one of the key productivity tools in large organizations. When we ask customers or partners about their favorite app in Nextcloud, the answer usually Talk. It is a great place to start your day. You can immediately see upcoming meetings, reminders, unread messages, or start a call right there. Since its introduction, we continuously receive a lot of feedback from our customers and partners. We use it to elevate Nextcloud to the next level. Release after release. Nextcloud Talk boosts productivity in form of chats, voice calls, video conferencing, and even large-scale webinars. Talk is the single place where you get work done. For example, you can share a document and everyone can edit it right there. Same with tasks, calendars, and other objects. This release brings many improvements again. Let me show you my favorites. First, we made calls easier to start from anywhere you see people's avatars. Just click on the person you want to talk to, start the call or chat while you say in context of your work. Now the second feature I would like to highlight, sorting and grouping. We all are managing many conversations during a workday. It would be nice to improve handling, wouldn't it? Our community members contributed ideas and code to this effect. Our team reviewed, enhanced, and finally brought them into the Hub 26 spring release, while always working in a tight feedback loop with our design team. This is a great example of collaboration between us and our community. Here are your options. This will help you keep up with things even better. You can now also tag conversations and group them by their tags. This will help you stay organized more easily. This is another great example of collaboration between us and our community in this release. Of course, there's even more to this release. Let me sum it up for you. We improved the design of private replies as often requested by the community. Now, they quote the message you replied to. We improved attachment sharing by adding a per-share folder. This keeps your talk folders more organized. We introduced voice rooms, where the call is always on, so you can join in and participate immediately. It's a great place to spontaneously hang out with friends and colleagues. During calls, background noise will be suppressed much better thanks to a new AI model for noise suppression. And we did work a lot on the Talk desktop client and our integrated whiteboard. We would love to hear what you think. Now I'd like to invite Jan to share the latest improvements in Nextcloud Files and Design.
Hi everyone. So this is Nextcloud Files, where you find and can work with your documents. In the release earlier this year, we introduced 3 major foundational improvements across Nextcloud Files. The first one is that you get more control over data and workflows. For that, we expanded user migration, so you can export and import more things from the various different apps, and you can easily transfer from one provider to another. And the other thing is that we expanded federation to more apps so that you can more easily collaborate with people from other clouds, from other organizations, or from other servers. The second point, big point, is security, because there's really no privacy without it. To that end, we introduced end-to-end encryption in the web interface, so you can simply enable it and work with your files. And the third point is the file access layer. We really did a core rework there that we released under the name ADA for Accelerated Data Access, which makes Nextcloud ready for heavy use in really complex organizations. And then with this release, we really focus on the essentials on stability, polishing, UX, accessibility, all sorts of these maintenance, refinement things. For example, 96 of all of our pull requests across all of our repositories are really related to maintenance work. So it's about translation, polishing, design fixes, all these sorts of things that make everything stable and rock solid. Just one example, when you were downloading multiple files before, it could happen if there was an internet outage or any issue with the computer that you would end up with an incomplete archive. And now we can intelligently resume this, and then the archive resumes at the point where it was cancelled, and then you get your files, you can download your files fully. Then, of course, in every release we do lots of design improvements. Good design and seamless UX is essential in Nextcloud. And in this release specifically, we focused on a lighter feel so that you can really focus on your files, really focus on your work, and you don't get distracted by anything. I hope you like waffles, because we cooked something up. The new app switcher might look familiar. It's like a really nice new menu. We moved all the apps, all the possible endless amount of apps in this nice compact menu, because as the Nextcloud platform grows, it's important that you have space for all of these, and they're in a spot where you can find them, and it's a really familiar experience. And also with, of course, the amount of remaining space that we now have in the center, we put the unified search front and center. So it's really at your fingertips, so you can easily find anything, not only files, but also talk messages, collective pages, calendar events, anything really, any app that you have enabled in your Nextcloud that supports the unified search, so you can quickly find what you're looking for. And then there's also a bunch of smaller little changes that we did across the app. So I'm just going to go through a few of them now. For example, in the navigation, we reduced the visual noise here in the left navigation. So the active element, for example, here is not highlighted in primary anymore, so that there's less distraction and there's only one primary action button at a time. So it's not two primary elements fighting against each other. So in the sidebar, we did something similar. We changed to a smaller animated underline and a more subtle active indication, which is really quite nice and not too distracting. And then also further in the desktop client, there's a bunch of changes. For example, the account wizard for setup. It allows you to really seamlessly get started, and it now looks much better. So yeah, you can beautifully set up your account and easily get going. And the settings dialog, when you get further into the desktop client, is also more organized. The design is updated. So if you need to adjust any settings, you can actually find it, because it's really quite organized and quite nice to see. And the thing that you probably most use in the desktop app is the tray menu. And this we simplified quite a lot. So now it's really focused on the status of accounts, so that you directly can see if anything needs your attention. So in summary, we're really focused on what matters, so that you can get your work done easily, efficiently, and securely. And that really Nextcloud doesn't get in your way, but rather supports you with your work and with anything that you want to do with it. But of course, there's one more thing also, because privacy has a business equivalent, and that's compliance. So there's a lot of guidelines like GDPR, HIPAA, SOC, and a lot more. And you really have to be in control and have oversight over all the data and everything to follow these guidelines and be compliant. Nextcloud already has some tools for these use cases, like the audit log and the file access control and some more small tools. But large organizations really need more to fulfill this. And for this, today we're introducing Nextcloud Governance. Nextcloud Governance is a unified system for all these things that really allows you to have one overview of the compliance setup in your organization. So it offers tools to track and control data, and really track data access and sharing across all your organization. So for example, admins can create sensitivity labels to control access rights, and they can enact a legal hold on files to protect them, and they can also set up rules to control the data lifecycle. And there's also a lot of documentation and tools to track these compliance tasks. So for example, here you have the compliance manager, which is a nice visualization on where, for example, you're lacking and where you're successful actually. And any improvements that you need to do, they can be actually assigned to people so that they can follow up on them and then implement them. Another part of governance is the share review app. There you can search for possibly risky shares and also generate an audit report for compliance. And here's how labels look like in files, where people can see the access level and they can modify labels depending on the permissions. So it's really nicely integrated with files itself as well. That's Nextcloud Governance. So if you're a big organization or enterprise, it's very useful for you. And we wonder, is this the right direction? What do you think of it? Please talk to us. Let us know what you think. Happy to talk. And now I'm giving it over to Kim for the news in Nextcloud Groupware.
Nextcloud Groupware is your suite of productivity applications, including mail, calendar, contacts, and task management. Today, I want to focus on 3 areas in particular: delegation, interoperability, and improvements to our Kanban tool Deck. In big organizations, there is a lot of mail traffic and coordination happening across teams, and probably you have found your workflows for that, for example, with shared mailboxes or shared calendars. But in practice, sharing is not always enough. Sometimes you actually need somebody to work on your behalf. That could be an assistant, but more commonly it's probably things like vacation coverage or temporary handovers inside a team. And with this release, we now support delegation for both mail and calendar. So let's take a closer look. With mail delegation, another person can read and reply to emails on your behalf. This works on an account basis, so delegated users can access all mailboxes connected to that account. The important thing is that this makes collaboration workflows much more practical without needing shared accounts or workaround solutions anymore. Calendar delegation works in a very similar way. It allows somebody else to organize meetings on your behalf, manage invitations, and respond to invites for you. And just like mail delegation, this also works on an account level across calendars. One important detail here is transparency. For both mail and calendar, recipients can always see when something was sent by a delegate. So even though somebody is acting on behalf of another person, communication always stays clear and traceable. And of course, delegation is not only useful if somebody has a secretary or assistant, because most people don't. A very common example is simply something like a vacation replacement or temporary support inside a team. And that connects nicely to another improvement in this release. If you forward a calendar invite and the recipient accepts it in their own calendar application, Nextcloud will now automatically add them to the original event. So these workflows work much more smoothly across systems now. The second topic is interoperability. Groupware applications never exist in isolation. Maybe you use Nextcloud Mail in the browser during work, but also check email on your phone. Maybe you access your calendar through Talk, but also through another desktop application. And many people also combine private and work accounts across different servers and providers. So that's exactly why interoperability is so critical here. And this release introduces two big improvements in that area. The first one is JMAP support for mail. JMAP is a newer standard for communication between mail clients and servers. It's faster, more efficient, and designed to support more modern mail functionality. And we are already seeing some adaptation from servers like Stalwart, Cyrus, and Dovecot, for example. The second big improvement is full read-write support for CalDev and CardDev. We already supported read-only access before, but full read-write support is a big step forward now. With that, you can now connect calendars and contacts much more deeply across different platforms, whether that's Outlook and Exchange, Zimbra, OpenExchange, private calendar servers, or other environments. For example, if you schedule a meeting in Talk, it can now directly sync with your Outlook or Gmail calendar workflows. And overall, this release further improves the integration between Nextcloud and the other tools people already rely on every day. The third major area I want to talk about is Deck. We already mentioned earlier how important community contributions and customer feedback are for us at Nextcloud, and Deck is another really good example for that. A lot of work in this release was driven by contributions from our community. One of the biggest additions here is the new Gantt chart view, which was contributed by a community member. Gantt charts are one of the most widely used project management tools because they make it much easier to understand timelines and dependencies just at one glance. Tasks are displayed alongside a visual timeline, which really helps teams keep an overview of projects and schedules. The implementation also supports drag and drop scheduling, making it very easy to just adjust timelines directly inside the interface. Your colleagues can just switch between day, week, and month views and also customize color coding depending on their workflow. We also introduced task dependencies. So now you can define that one card depends on another task being completed first. That makes project planning much more powerful, easier, and faster. And because Gantt charts naturally focus on timing and duration, we also added support for start dates and times. That means colleagues can now better track how long tasks actually take and plan projects more realistically. And by the way, this was something many had been waiting for, so it's really great to see these kind of substantial contributions coming from our community. These were not the only improvements we have in Deck, because there are several more to make task organization and coordination easier. For example, you can now assign teams and groups directly to cards. There's also support for selecting a default Deck board that automatically opens when Deck loads, another contribution from our community. Mail and calendar also received more improvements beyond the delegation and interoperability features we looked at earlier. For example, we added HTML support for more complex company email signatures, and there's also quite a bit of performance work across all the Groupware apps. For many people, myself included, mail and calendar are really at the center of every workday. And if that's true for you as well, we'd really love to hear your feedback. And with that, I would like to invite Torsten to share what's new in Nextcloud Office powered by Collabora Online.
Let's now get to the Nextcloud Hub 26 Spring Release news about Nextcloud Office, powered by Collabora Online since quite a while. Nextcloud Office is a collaborative office suite based on Collabora Online. It is fully interoperable with all major document, spreadsheet and presentation formats, and it is accessible from any modern browser. Collabora's partnership with Nextcloud is based on a shared mission and goes back all the way to 2016. We collaborate closely and jointly serve hundreds of customers. Together, we deliver value and work on improving the product daily. And we team up, both with Nextcloud as well as ecosystem partners, to support many migrations. As with every major release, there are lots of improvements. Let us now highlight a few. The first awesome feature to announce is support for AI integrations across the suite. There is now a new AI assistant built in. Go to View, then enable the AI sidebar. The first thing it can help you with is generating content. Just like a browser prompt, but without switching context. Create the content for an email, for example, or some nice visuals for your document. And then add it to your document at your current cursor position just with a click of a button. Next, let's have a look at spreadsheets. For spreadsheets, let's go next level. You can also directly interact with the document in an editing session. Now, here's a common problem. A spreadsheet was copied and now contains a number of errors. Let's see what the new AI integration can help us with. Click on the little exclamation mark on the problematic cell. Then ask the AI assistant to help fix the problem. Oh, the first option sounds plausible, so let's use that. And voila, problem fixed. What can we do even better? Yes. Now let's have a look at this chunk of reference errors, which is always annoying. You see the proposed fix, but it is always guarded with an explicit acknowledgement before the AI is allowed to edit your document. So let's approve the fix, and it is done. This will help you with many errors in your spreadsheets. To summarize, with the new Nextcloud Hub 26 Spring Release, for all Office document, you will have the new AI chat sidebar. This new AI chat sidebar lets users interact with an AI assistant alongside the document, and after explicit acknowledgement, also interact with the document. Configuration per Nextcloud deployment is by your administrator, and with explicit acknowledgement of the underlying model and provider. You can of course also bring your own local model. Now, an important point to underline. The new AI assistant was developed in alignment with the Nextcloud AI principles and ethical AI guidelines. So if you care about providing this extra level of protection to your users, for example, against data used without permission, against bias and discrimination, or against data theft and espionage, then use one of the many on-prem local models and configure them as you can see here. And now let's look at more new stuff. Here is a lovely new feature for all you spreadsheet nerds out there. Calculated fields in pivot tables. More dynamic data analysis is possible for your finance and sales teams. And it is one more step towards perfect interoperability. Another nice improvement, better templates. Templates have always been there, where you could collect frequently used documents in a shared place. But there was a problem. .x and other template extension files sometimes could previously not be edited in Nextcloud Office, since they were handled as read-only before. As you can see, we have now fixed that. Beyond all of that, there's an awesome amount of additional improvements. Let me just highlight a few. For Impress, there's basic section support, which is lovely for structuring your large presentation decks. For Calc, there's a warning when a change breaks references, which is super useful for large sheets where you wouldn't notice before it's too late. Additionally, there's Markdown import and export and Markdown to PDF templating for all those programmers out there. Accessibility certification, which is now BitV 2.0 tested and making the software easily usable for everyone. And now I'd like to invite Joss to share what's new in Nextcloud Office powered by EuroOffice.
We've always had multiple Office solutions, and today we're introducing a new one, EuroOffice. So EuroOffice came out of a collaboration with Jonas and a big number of other partners, and we announced it at an event at the German Parliament. Now EuroOffice takes a different architectural approach, which results in better performance in the browser, as well as really good document compatibility with legacy file formats. Now EuroOffice comes with a complete set of apps that includes documents, spreadsheets, presentation support, as well as a very nice PDF editor. With the app, we're also introducing a very nice new overview of recent documents and templates. This is also going to be available for Nextcloud Office based on Collabora Online. EuroOffice works on mobile devices as well as in the browser. For this release, we have focused on the first steps of deeper integration with Nextcloud. So this includes the introduction of the Smart Picker. That allows you to quickly insert links to, for example, tasks, locations or chat rooms in your Nextcloud document. Second, AI integration. We're bringing the Nextcloud Assistant to EuroOffice. That means you can feed it text and you can ask it to generate, for example, a nice headline or a summary of a document you're working on. And third, we have made sure that EuroOffice supports a file conversion API. The file conversion API then allows you in the Nextcloud Files app to, for example, select a file and say, okay, please turn this into a markdown file or turn this from a markdown into a PDF and so on. Now, our goal is of course to provide choice. So we're looking forward to hear your feedback about Nextcloud Office. Next, I want to talk about the Nextcloud productivity apps. So next to the core Office components, we have these productivity apps, and there I want to highlight two very nice improvements. As you might recall, in the last release we made Nextcloud Text more reliable with intermittent network. So if you're, for example, in the German Deutsche Bahn train and you're trying to work on a document and the network drops out for like 2 or 3 seconds, Nextcloud Text will keep working. Now with this release we're actually extending that period of 2 or 3 seconds to up to 5 minutes. That means that even if there's really a stretch of, well, German train where you have no internet connection, you can keep editing the document. And then even after those 5 minutes, when you then connect, it will still sync all the changes you made and try to integrate them in case there are other people working on the same document. What is not yet available is fully offline working, but this is something we're working on. And as a first step, we're actually bringing offline browsing to collectives. So any page that you've opened in collectives as part of your knowledge base, you can open again even when you're offline. So you can browse through your knowledge base and open and work on these documents without a network connection, or of course with a bad network connection. Now, besides these two improvements, we also made it possible now to sort tables in Nextcloud Text, which is then also available in Deck and of course collectives, because these are all built on top of Nextcloud Text. And Nextcloud Collectives also has much improved attachment handling, as you can see in the summary here. So, a lot of very nice improvements. And yeah, we're really looking forward, as always, to your feedback on the Nextcloud productivity apps. But next, I would like to invite Marcel to share what is new in Nextcloud Assistant and in Nextcloud Flow.
Hello, I want to talk about 3 interesting areas today. That's Nextcloud Flow, Tables and AI. They're all available to make your daily workflows easier. Nextcloud Flow is our real open source automation. But we did not create it just for fun. It's our response to the need, especially in the public sector. The key to deliver better services to the public is more automation wherever possible. And for this, Nextcloud offers the only solution that's integrated in an on-prem collaboration platform. We have a lot of built-in workflow features available already. They can be used by admins or users themselves to automate simple tasks. It's based on events like new or changed documents and can, for example, automatically transcribe or convert documents into PDFs. One example is a simple approval flow. Based on the rules like tags, new documents trigger this flow, which will ask for a second person for an approval of this document. This can then trigger even further actions. The purpose of this is to perform simple automations right out of the standard Nextcloud setup. A very important component of our Flow ecosystem is our no-code application Nextcloud Tables. It's used by more and more people to manage their structured information. and we continue to make it even simpler to make use of it. You can use it now already to store data and even model workflows by using different view combinations. Everything that we do is coming from a need. One advanced user of Nextcloud Tables is Schleswig-Holstein. They are using it for government workflows like managing building permits. This features hundreds of tables with different views for every step of the whole process. I want to name the most important addition to tables when using Nextcloud Tables for workflows like this. It's the new possibility to share tables or views via public link. So also external customers can input data directly. But we are not only working towards more complex workflows. It's very important to make the daily usage of Nextcloud Tables simpler and more intuitive with every release. This time we added many small things that you will immediately notice on your daily work. Besides the mentioned public sharing, we are now more flexible to change how views or tables look and feel. Reordering and sorting of views or columns was one of the most requested features, and this is finally available. Combine this one with relational columns and push notification, I'm sure you will have many more ideas where tables can help you on your daily business. When we go one step further with flows, we might want to connect even more dots from Nextcloud with each other. This is why our OCS API is a very important part of the Flow ecosystem. But Jos will talk about the details later. These standardized APIs are available for most apps already. They are the prerequisite for our next part of Flow. When it comes to more specialized automations, we offer you the Windmill integration. Windmill is a full workflow system for advanced processes. And with this release, it got even better. Finally, we can support standalone Windmill servers that don't need to be managed by Nextcloud anymore. This makes it easier to integrate and scale workflow systems independent from the Nextcloud itself. So what is Windmill, in case you did not look at it yet? Windmill can access all OCS APIs of your Nextcloud installation and interact with them. But it's not limited to that. It's a proper workflow system that can connect to any system out there that offers an API. To make the first steps as simple as possible, we already offer many pre-made scripts to start with. To demonstrate the capabilities of Windmill and Nextcloud, I want to show two workflows that we prepared for you. The first one is triggered by an uploaded PDF document. Here, it's a room booking document. As the usage of room requires approval, a second person receives a notification to review the booking with the Nextcloud tables, where all information was added already. After receiving the approval, the calendar booking is automatically created without further interaction. My second example is a travel cost reimbursement process, also enhanced by AI. Here, you can offer a normal Nextcloud form. The user has to fill out some metadata for the journey, like title and dates. But the real work saver here is that we don't require any details about the costs. They just submit an invoice document along with that form. A Windmill process is triggered. This makes use of an AI agent to read the invoice document, extract all relevant information, and post it into the travel expense form. This example will save several minutes of copy and paste per travel expense. And after that, you might think of even more improvements, like automatic validations to save even more time within your travel expense department. I just showed two workflows that make use of AI already. So let's have a look at the Nextcloud Assistant itself. It has been integrated in Nextcloud for many years already. Since the beginning, it had one goal: make your task easier. With this release, we are ready for the EU AI Act, which requires detailed information on where and how features are integrated in Nextcloud. This is available within our Nextcloud online documentation. We also added more information on the AI integration that is used in the background. For example, when using the AI assistant, every task will show the LLM to be used. Is it a public one, or is the service using the Ionos AI app, for example? Everything is always transparent to you. Another great improvement is the new window type of the Nextcloud Assistant. This is now a so-called modal, which means that you can that you do not leave your current context just to get the AI result and come back later. Now all interactions with the assistant can be performed where you are, no matter if it's a deck card or a calendar booking. Or make use of it in Nextcloud Talk. Use the Nextcloud Assistant to summarize calls or conversations. Or you can also offer a live transcription and live translation with the Nextcloud Talk. AI can be integrated in many more areas of Nextcloud, but you're always in control on where and how to offer it. For example, it's integrated in Mail to summarize mails and propose answers. It can propose meetings in Calendar, or it can even directly be accessed from the desktop and the mobile client. This here is another example to showcase the more convenient integration, in this case with the Collectives app. To use the Nextcloud Assistant feels more intuitive because it does not block your work anymore. It supports you, and you can easily take over results to whatever app you're currently using. With Nextcloud Hub 26, we also had enhanced AI agent integration. This means you can now ask Nextcloud Assistant to perform even more tasks. I'm not talking about generation, text, or summary. The assistant can perform actions within Nextcloud, like working with files, processing forms, update your deck board, or manage teams. Imagine one prompt with the Nextcloud Assistant can save you many clicks of regular work. How can I summarize the improvements of the Nextcloud Assistant in Hub 26 Spring? It's all about an even simpler usage, so you can save even more time. We make it obvious to you on what AI features you might be interacting with. We make it easier for the admin to maintain the infrastructure by now offering Kubernetes. And we offer even more tasks that an agent can do for you. Altogether, it will feel even more interactive and supportive to you.
Hi, I'm Anna. I'm here with Nextclouders of the first hour. We are starting with Jan, who is our lead designer. We've also got Jos, who is our communications director, and we've got Arthur, who is now team lead of productivity. Before we rejoin the birthday party, I want to take this chance to look back into what happened and also look a bit into the future with people who have been with this journey from the beginning. So tell me, what is your favorite memory from the early days when you started Nextcloud? Yes, let's start with you. Tell me.
Early days at Nextcloud. I really thought the early meetings that we had, I think 1 week in, there was in the that house in Stuttgart. Yeah. I was at a month in already. I think it was already, we did it twice, right? Once in the first month and then again in the second. That was cool, fighting for internet connection from the satellite connection there.
So was this a hack week or just a...
Yeah, it was kind of like getting everyone together. I mean, we had just started the company. So first, I think there were 6, 7, 8 people. And then the second time, 13, 14 in total.
And we had a disco light. I remember that.
Right, yeah.
That was very important. We didn't have actual lamps, I remember, but we had a fancy disco light.
We had the disco light lamp. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. How about you, Arthur? Where do you come?
For me, the journey starts even earlier, so I'm always thinking back of the very, very early days before even the company before and even before that. And yeah, there's always that famous first meeting in Stuttgart where we had 4 or 5 people there. And I recall it was for me a bit funny because I had my very first alone flight and I wasn't very sure about all this stuff at the airport. So basically I just more or less went to it, so to arrive just before the plane departs, and then I was just rushing through the security. The plane was already standing there. I could just run over the tarmac and inside the airplane, sit down, they closed the door behind, and off we went.
Very efficient.
So it was a private jet, you're saying?
It wasn't exactly a private jet, no, but yeah, it was fun.
How about you, Jan?
Yeah, I mean, I was at I was at both meetings, of course, right? But at that same earlier meetup that Arthur mentioned. And there, I think one of the funnest things was we always, like, when we were done hacking, first of all, we always needed 5 more minutes. Yeah, that's basically a meme. Yeah, that every one of us knows. But we also every evening almost went to this restaurant called Bonnie and Clyde in Stuttgart to get burgers, and that was pretty funny always. Yeah, and at the Fork also, just before this, when we went to that location, I was actually on a bikepacking trip to Albania, where I was like half working, half taking vacation. So it was kind of a funny, turbulent time. And, yeah.
So you were in the middle of like a combined holiday workation thing, and you heard, okay, the fork's happening.
Yeah, I was sleeping outside at the time, like in a bivouac bag and stuff, and so yeah, it was kind of exciting in many ways.
Yeah, it was a very crazy time at the beginning. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. So next question: when you look at Nextcloud, what stands out for you, Jos?
Yeah, I think the impact was for a long time involved in KDE. And I remember sharing with Frank, who I know from there since about 2005. We had a bit of a shared frustration at the, in a way, limited impact, because of course the year of Linux desktop is this famous thing that never came. We thought it was important, right, that people have control over their own computer, so to say, rather than one faceless corporation. And what is different, I think, with Nextcloud is that the impact of it is just growing exponentially at the moment. Like last year, I think a total of 2 million users just in businesses. Those are numbers that are really showing that there's a difference to be made, and that's growing really fast. I think this year we might do, I don't know, maybe double that. Mm-hmm. So that growth is, I think, for me the most. Yeah, in the end, I'm motivated by really making a change, and that's happening now. And for me, that's really very exciting.
Mm-hmm. And how about you, Jan? What stands out for you about Nextcloud?
Yeah, so I mean, for me, it's also, of course, similar, right? I see the growth and so on, but I also think it's really cool to see like the impact on the small scale, sort of, because like, some people that I speak to privately regularly say, hey, I use Nextcloud, like it's really just cool to hear. And in fact, and you don't know that because you weren't there, just yesterday with Eva, Frank and Maria, we were at a bar here, and some random guy came up to us, and I think he saw Maria's Nextcloud t-shirt, and he was saying, I use Nextcloud as well. I was like, wow, and everyone was so happy. So it's like very cool, to see,
the recognition of what we do.
Yeah,
right?
and not necessarily in a way of like, oh, we want to become famous or whatever, right? But it's just nice. Well, it's useful to so many people, like we're actually making a change. It's actually useful. It's like, it's something that people can, use, can install and so on. So that's quite cool.
Amazing. And what about you, Arthur? You're more on the productivity code side. What do you think is different today about Nextcloud? What stands out to you?
Stands out? Similar to what Jan actually said. So for me, it was also to have the impact, a meaningful impact, and to have it working out from small scale, but also for all sorts of NGOs or clubs or organizations who just really need to have some piece of infrastructure like this to work, and to not being dependent on big corporations. So like also this non-commercial aspect. And I mean, I see it in also my personal use case, like in the family we use it, right? We organize it in a calendar, like my wife and all my kids, and we use Talk to communicate with each other, and of course have the files and pictures shared amongst the larger family. So it's on this level it also works, right? Kind of compared to, of course, the use in any industries and companies. So it's really good way, and I think we really aim and achieve the goal, kind of to be kind of the alternative, be the autonomous alternative to the other players.
Mm-hmm. So still a bit punk, still a bit
definitely.
The rebel. Yeah, good design is important, right? So you can actually instinctively or intuitively know what this button does without having to read a manual or anything. So this is a question for Jan. What do you think about like a great user experience? What you as the designer, tell us about that.
Yeah, of course, I think it's very, very important. This is like has been since the start, of course, since the very, very start, a big point that we have a really good design. It's really simple to use. We have all these design guidelines, or a few very simple design guidelines actually, right? One of that is, for example, to just do things automatically and not add a setting for every single thing. And just today, I was replying on an issue where someone asked for a setting for some specific thing, and I was figuring out a way how we can just do it automatically, because there's so many, like we can do so many powerful things and give people powerful software, but can do it in a simple way also. I think that's what we are especially good at. Yeah. Oftentimes when I use Microsoft products, I'm quite overwhelmed, I have to say. And so this is kind of I mean, maybe not unique thing, right? But it's we're certainly very strong on the design side and keeping it simple, even though we have very powerful things like the things you see in our release videos, for example. Like we try to focus on making them simple, making them approachable, ideally without needing to specifically explain them in detail, but so that they're sort of obvious, when you don't use Nextcloud every single day, or maybe not even every week, that when you come back and when you look at it, it's sort of obvious and you don't need to break your brain on the Nextcloud interface, but you can focus on your work.
And as a team lead, how do you feel that works, Arthur?
Every maintainer of the app, they also have their vision on in which direction it should go. So like this is the point of stewardship that Jos mentioned. So also to guide discussions maybe, or say, maybe it doesn't fit, or or we can do it a bit different maybe also. But in general, it works, and like Jan described, this is how it works. When we're about to prioritize which functionality we're gonna build in next, then we're looking at all the aspects and all the channels. And I think also above that, at Nextcloud you have so many more contact points towards the, let's say, developer community in that case. So not just through sales, but also through the forums, through the GitHub. You can meet us at FOSDEM and talk to us. And I think that's also different compared to other companies where you maybe need to go through a maze of contact forms or hotlines or so until you maybe manage to find someone who you can talk to or so. I think we are much closer actually to the other people, to the users.
So it's a very flexible system, very nice, Okay, and that brings us to in the App Store. There are a ton. I've seen there's almost 600 there. How do you feel about that number when you think back to 10 years of Nextcloud? Are you proud? Yeah?
That's really cool. You talked earlier about the first app, right?
Yes.
The first app?
I mean, we have this app concept that was established pretty
very early,
I think. But it was not exposed so much in the beginning, I believe. And it was all centered around files, because the very first idea was just to replace, or not to replace, but to offer Dropbox, an alternative to Dropbox, right? So it was Dropbox was the elevator pitch, sort of.
So contacts, calendar, and music were like three of the earliest ones, but I don't know what was the first, actually. Do you remember?
I also added bookmarks quite early, but I also was not sure whether it was the first or one of the first ones. But it was the one that was away from DAF or from the files concept. And
because calendar contacts was still built on DAF, right? Yeah. Which was still a part of the core.
Was in the database, though,
yes.
Right? So that was also not part of files, of course.
Exactly, right? It was, but still, like the first app that did something completely on its own. That was then either bookmarks or music.
I'm not sure when music
worked on files. Music worked on files.
Music works on files, but it lets you stream it as well.
So then bookmarks, in a way, maybe was the first app that just did its own thing, in a way.
Yeah. We have to look at the commits, maybe, or the old screenshots. I don't know. We have some presentation of old interfaces.
Yes. So that app is still going strong, I think, in the App Store. It still exists, right?
Which app now?
The bookmarks.
Yes, of course.
Yes.
So
It changed.
it's also
Looks much different now.
Of
course.
Yeah, I passed it on. I think it's now with Marcel Leclerc as a second maintainer after me. But yeah, he really polished it. He really made it look very nice and very easy and beautiful to use. So that's cool. And yeah, it's really great to still see it there kind of, from the very early days.
And actually all of them, so just to be clear, all of them still go strong, yeah? Like
Yes,
all the four
yes.
that we mentioned. So.
Yeah, and for me personally, music is awesome. Like I also just use it regularly, just to just listen to my collection, also still add it to it. Yeah.
very nice, very nice. So which apps are your personal favorites? Do you have any, Jan? Or have you built an app? I think you did, didn't you?
Might have, yeah.
Tell us about that.
So I have a few favorite apps. So I would say my top favorite app is probably the Maps app. I have a very soft spot for that, and I helped build it with Arne and Julien. And I still think there's huge potential in a Maps app for Nextcloud that syncs with mobile Maps apps, open source Maps apps. Because the reliance on Google Maps is still quite a thing, right? So if we can do routing and so on, it's not so much of course the personal data and maybe not so much the enterprise aspect. I mean, unless you're maybe a delivery enterprise or something, but I think it's quite a strong chokehold that is still there. So yeah, that's a thing. There's still I like very much. Yeah. Then there's DAVX5 by the Bitfire folks. I think they deserve a shout out because they've been there syncing calendar and contacts on Android forever.
Yeah, also 15 years maybe even.
Possibly,
yeah.
Which, like, why that is not possible natively on Android, I don't know. But yeah.
What about your own app? It's gone into
Yeah,
the
I'm trying to-
annals of Nextcloud history. Tell us.
to skirt around it a little bit. So it's called Keep or Sweep. It's, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was the first game on the App Store, and it helps you declutter your files. So it shows you a random file or photo, and you have to decide whether you want to keep it or delete it. So it's sort of like Tinder, but for your files, you could say.
Wasn't there also a big button involved somewhere?
Yes, I built at some point I got an industrial style emergency stop button, or two actually, and I soldered basically you have these little keyboard microcontrollers with some I think it was processing. You can program them, and then had two of them with USB on the laptop, and you can
Keep, sweep, keep, sweep. Yeah, very funny. I remember that you came with that at the conference.
It used to also work with Twitter at some point, but then the API shut down at some point. So,
that's a shame. Okay.
With Twitter?
Yeah.
Well,
So
there you would
keep
just
and delete your
delete. It's the only wise choice anyway at the moment.
It was some time ago. It was before the whole...
That's crazy. Yeah.
How about you, Jos? I think you got into coding recently.
Yeah, because privately, I think one of my most used app. Well, I mean, I use the Cookbook app.
Shout out! It's a fantastic app.
Yeah, exactly. And the Notes app, usually just when I go shopping. I know that the Cookbook app can do that too, but
I fully agree, and I forgot that in my shout out. And I was thinking, I have to check my notes. What do I use to check my notes?
the Notes app.
Notes app. Yeah. So
Exactly.
By Stefan Niedermann, I think. Amazing app.
It's really nice.
Yeah.
And then the Memories app, like this alternative for the Photos app, which just has this nice timeline and a lot of other functionalities. Like it also works, of course. You can see the photos on the Maps app, which is also nice. Yeah. But I think that works even without the Memories app. I've been working on an app, trying to build an app that then generates like these event videos out of like a trip to somewhere automatically. I have put it on GitHub, but not yet in the App Store. But I will. And it's funny because about halfway through building that app, I discovered there is already a Journeys app, which does create events. It doesn't do all the stuff that my app does, but I should have contributed to that instead. But yeah, that's
You can do both.
too late now. Yeah, no, maybe. I will have a look.
And Arthur, how about you?
Yeah, some were mentioned already, of course. I think Talk was not yet, and that's just really good for communications, and it's also very versatile. One funny thing, we used it as a baby monitor as well. So I was with a family, we were on a vacation. The kids were smaller; they were already asleep in the hotel room. But we put their laptop and turned on Talk and went down into the hospital lobby. So we had a nice evening down there. In case anything would happen, it would be noticed.
I'm sure that wasn't the use case you also imagined, but did it work? Did it work well?
Yeah.
Excellent. That is such a cool idea.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, we've had quite a journey through all different parts of Nextcloud from the beginning to now. Are there any finishing words you would like to say? Anything that comes to mind? Even a shout out to your mom or your grandma?
I would say see you at the conference.
Excellent.
Right.
Yes. So we hope you'll all join us at the conference. It is in September. Check our website. We would love to have you, especially our community members. Please, you're more than welcome to join us. Yes, how about you? Any last words for this new release, for this birthday?
Yeah, the birthday, it's really cool with the cake and everything. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to the conference indeed. Getting more people there is always nice. But I also hope that, with the developments in the world, so to say, that more people discover some inner courage and move over, either privately, but also in businesses, because, it's a well-trodden path, like lots of organizations have done it. And we're happy to help, of course, at Nextcloud and with all our partners and friends and community. Yeah, it can really be a positive impact, both for you, your organization, or privately, but of course society at large, like having all our data at a couple of foreign firms. It's just not healthy, I think, for our democracy and for our collective future, and I'd like to see that change. Mm-hmm. And the technical problem is largely resolved. The question now is, we need to find those courageous people who want to move, because if we all are going to wait until government has fixed all our problems, then, we'll get very old before that happens.
Thank you. And Arthur, how about you?
Yeah, it's been a great story, like 10 years. Who would have thought already? Mm-hmm. And if you look further back, it's really been a time, and just looking forward to what's to come, because tasks were not becoming less, just getting more, and it's exciting to see that it goes on in future, and with the challenges that we have at hand globally. But then I think it's very important, to indeed do something meaningful and provide options, and
Thank you very much. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for 10 years of Nextcloud. Thank you for being fantastic co-workers and interviewees. Thank you, people, for joining us. We're looking forward to hopefully seeing you at the conference.
So we talked now about collaboration, open source, and community, and we'll cover a little more of the meaning of all of this in practice. Now, Nextcloud consists of a series of core applications you're all familiar with, Nextcloud Files, Talk, Assistant, and so on. These applications are mature and, big, doing a lot of stuff. But of course, there's much more than these. There are many other applications integrated in Nextcloud beyond these. Examples are, for example, integrations like the Microsoft Outlook integrations, integration with WebEx and Miro. Some of these are very close to Nextcloud, almost a part of Nextcloud, like Windmill, which is part of Nextcloud Flow, and Collabora Online, on which we have built Nextcloud Office. And others are a little bit further away. And then you have infrastructure pieces like the mail server, identity provider, database, and other parts that are also key to run a successful Nextcloud instance. Then you have the apps themselves on top of the platform. And don't underestimate these. There are over 600 apps, and this number is growing fast, and they're adding a lot of different capabilities and different things that you can use your Nextcloud server with and for. So we want to talk about all these things. First, a little bit about integrations. Then I want to talk about Nextcloud apps and some updates to there. And last, we have 2 announcements. Let me start with the integration of third-party apps. Already talked a little bit about improvements in Nextcloud Office, of course, as well as in Flow. And then there are XWiki and Open Project. These 2 projects continue to get closer to Nextcloud with better and better integration over time. Now for this release, there are 3 noteworthy improvements around integrations that I want to talk about. First, I want to talk about the add-ons for Sendent. These are probably familiar. So you have the Outlook integration from Sendent that allows you to securely share files or book meetings directly from your Outlook interface. And in the last release, Sendent also released an Apple Mail integration, which also allows you to share files and book meetings from within Apple Mail. Now with this release, they are making available a Thunderbird integration, which you can also use to share files and to book meetings with the Talk integration with other people. So that's the first integration improvement. Now second, I want to talk about Documento. So Documento is a tool that allows you to sign documents, and the integration within Nextcloud has been improved, so it's really now integrated in Nextcloud. You can read and sign the document from within the Nextcloud interface. And this works both for self-hosted as well as for premium Documento instances. Another change that was done is the OpenID Connect integration that is now improved. You can now manage users through an OCS endpoint. That means you can use an API to add and remove and modify users. So it makes it easier for administrators that are using scripting to manage their Nextcloud instance. Now, of course, to build these integrations or connect to Nextcloud, you need a stable API, an E2C interface for developers. And this is where the OCS interface comes in, the Open Collaboration Services. As an external app, you're using this API to talk to a Nextcloud server to, for example, create shares or talk rooms or send messages or download files. Now, this API is documented using the Open API standard. And the Open API standard gives access to really nice tooling. So you can explore the API with the OCS Viewer app for Nextcloud. And it's a really nice app. Basically lets you test things out very easily, and then you can just grab the code. So next I want to invite Anna, our new developer relation manager, to share about the Nextcloud apps themselves.
Thanks, Jos. Let's talk about Nextcloud applications. There's currently about 600 native apps in the App Store, and that number is increasing day by day. A few of those new apps that our community has published are Mastermind. It's a game that looks deceptively simple, but is anything but. Ask me how I know. If you don't know the game, the goal is to crack a code of 5 colors as quickly as possible. It's a great game for puzzle lovers. This app was developed by Mark, and is his first, but not his last, Nextcloud app. Our second community app I'd like to show you is the Week Planner. Developer Søren Johansson describes it as a simple weekly planner inspired by Tweak, living right inside your Nextcloud. It makes planning so much easier. It offers drag and drop features, and of course, all your data stays yours. I like the UI a lot. As an old-handed bullet journaling, it feels familiar and comfortable. Now we have something for the sysadmins out there. Linkboard is a customizable service dashboard. Developed by Andreas, he created this app because he wanted an integrated service overview, not having to switch to a different application entirely every time he wanted to see his infrastructure status. It supports YAML and JSON import-export for your existing monitorings and is Get Homepage compatible. The UI has a service health check with status indicators, a status history with response time charts, and uptime tracking. You can have up to 500 services per user. That's quite a powerful app. The last app, Pantry by Chen, offers a powerful tool to organize your pantry, plan your groceries, and more. It works with multiple houses or offices, and it can even store reference photos of products, recipes, and more. No more fights about your roommate buying the wrong brand of cereal. Chen told me that he is working on making the Pantry app integrate with the equally great cookbook app by Christoph, which just makes sense. You can find all of these apps in the App Store, and the developers love getting feedback. So leave them a review or send them an email. We have also improved our App Store. We worked on accessibility improvements and added an expanded license check. This expansion now allows licenses like the Apache license, in fact, anything that's compatible with the HEPL version 3. Have you thought of an app you'd have liked to have for your Nextcloud? but you weren't sure where to start? Well, we think making apps should be easy. So we have written tutorials that will take you through developing an app step by step. And our documentation has had a lot of love recently too. Want to give it a quick try? There's even an automatic app generator. For those of you who have already published your apps, the following information will help you maintain and update your apps. We document changes to our API in our dev documentation. You can, at a glance, see what is new in each release and what has been deprecated. Our deprecations happen long before we finally remove the affected code, so our community developers have enough time to update their code. We also keep a history of changes per release in the documentation, so all of your bases are covered. If you're not a PHP developer, well, that's not a problem. With X apps, you can use the programming language you're most comfortable with, be that Python, WebAssembly, or Rust. We also offer SDKs for Python, Rust, TypeScript, and Go. But what are X apps? These are apps that work in microservices. They interact with your Nextcloud on an API level. They have no direct database access and cannot run PHP code directly on your server, which increases security. X apps use Docker for deployment, which distributes resource usage. If you want to build an integration or an app, whether that be native or external, go to nextcloud.com/developer, where you will find the tutorials and many more resources. Now we come to our announcements. But before that, a question. What is Nextcloud really? Is it a product, a group of apps, a company, a community? Well, I'd say it's all of those. It is not a single product. It is not a single company. We at Nextcloud, the company, have the honor to be stewards of Nextcloud, but we don't own it. The ownership is with the community, always has been, and always will be. Thousands have contributed towards code, design, or translations. Everything from individuals, companies, public or private institutions, or even partners. Some apps are hobby projects that were made because a single person wanted this functionality. Others were created for business applications. They all contribute to the community. The community, all of us, are making a difference in people's lives. So it is my privilege to work for Nextcloud in developer relations. I am here to empower all of us to build the Nextcloud we want. What's next? Let's grow further together. And now handing back to Jos for our next announcement.
All right, thank you, Anna. So, last year we made an update already to our App Store where we added the ability to donate, so you can support your favorite application with a donation. It is also possible to add a link where you can pay for an app. But this year we wanted to really level this up to really help independent app developers reach customers in an easier way. So we're introducing our independent software vendor program. We, on our side, will help these vendors with promotion and marketing as well as sales. So our sales team will directly help them sell to our customer base. And our developer team will also help them with their app to improve it and bring it to a next level. Our support team will help facilitate support so that when a customer has questions or has issues, this can be handled first by our team and then go third level support basically to them. Now, on the other side, of course, the developers of these apps have to maintain the app. They have to ensure that it's stable and scalable and that there's good security support for it as well. And of course, these applications, to be able to join the program, have to fit with Nextcloud. That means privacy, security, and not leaking data have to be high priorities. It's all about control for the customer. Now, we have already been able to onboard 4 companies that are developing apps for Nextcloud. And some of these are perhaps familiar, some of them are new for you. So first, we have Voxcloud. This is a Dutch company and they're building enterprise apps for handling metadata, build SharePoint-like dashboard and more. Second, we have Livia. This is a French company building scalability components for Nextcloud. Third is HKN. This is a German company building apps around making use of AI. And fourth, we have Conduction. This is a Dutch company building applications that track and automate processes for municipalities and local governments. So these are already the first 4 companies that are joining us and that as a customer whose products you'll be able to have access to. Now, if you want to join the ISV program, visit our website and, join the program, contact us and let's get started. Let's wrap all of this up. For this release, we have a number of integration improvements, as well as improvements to our app API and the App Store itself. We're introducing Anna as a developer relations manager, and of course our new ISV program. I'm really looking forward to hear from our developer community what they think of these improvements and if there are other things we can do to help them, make Nextcloud even better together with all of us. Next, I want to invite Frank for the closing.
So this is the Nextcloud Hub 26 Spring release. I think it's a really, really nice release. I'm sure you're going to like it. It's really nice progress for us. It comes with lots of nice improvements, as you have seen. For example, a fresh redesign, which makes everything nicer to use, easier to understand, which is of course super, super important. Then it comes with your choices of Office editors. As you have seen, we have 2 options now where you can choose from. This was a request from lots of users, so I'm sure you find a really nice Office editor that you like there, because that's very important, of course. Then you can delegate calendars, meetings and mailboxes. This is especially important if you work in a bigger organization and, for example, you need someone else to take over your vacation replacement. So this is super, super nice, handy functionality. Then in Nextcloud Deck, which is our project management tool, we have now the Gantt charts. And this is especially cool because this is a community contributions coming from awesome open source community that we have. Then in the Nextcloud Assistant, which is our AI functionality that we have a lot more agency features now. So you can really control your file management, your emails, your forms, and everything with the help of the AI assistant. Then, as you have seen, we have a very strong push for an even stronger ecosystem. For us, our app ecosystem around Nextcloud is super, super important, and we will invest into this more because this is what really our users like a lot. And then we have, of course, more integrations with other solutions like Pexip, which is a very nice video calling solution, and Metrics, of course, for chat has also strongly improved integration here. Yeah, and of course, everybody wants to use and test the new Nextcloud now. There are lots of nice options that we provide here. For example, there is the AIO, the all-in-one Docker container that you can just download and deploy on any hardware you want, for example on a Raspberry Pi at home if you want to, or of course on a bigger Linux machine. Of course also it runs on a Kubernetes cluster if you really have 100,000 or millions of users, so it's super, super easy. And of course you can get Nextcloud from one of our many service providers that you can find on our website. So it's super easy to install, to test, and of course then to use Nextcloud. So to summarize, there's a big trend at the moment going on to switch to Nextcloud, and this comes of course for obvious geopolitical reasons. So Nextcloud is a community project which is really owned by the community. So thousands of contributors contributed, for example, for this release alone. So it's not only coming from a company, it's coming really from one of the biggest open source communities in the world, which is really, really nice. You never depend on any single entity. Our community is bigger than all of us. So this is very, very important. So thanks to everyone who contributed to this awesome release. Let's celebrate this release together. And of course, we also have our birthday now, and there's another reason to celebrate. So really, really good day for us. Thanks a lot.